What I've learned after being in the juice business for nearly 15 years. If you don't know who I am, my name is Andrew McFarland, and as the title implies, I've been in this industry for coming on 15 years. I've run my own juice businesses, storefronts, juice trucks, helped hundreds of people just like you launch everything from smoothie trucks, smoothie bars, acai bowl businesses, you name it. We've helped people do it. So all the information on this channel is coming from this experience. Now, without further ado, what are the key things that I've learned after being in this industry for nearly 15 years? Number one is that your brand is more important than your product. Okay, a lot of times people, when they're getting started in this business, they think about their product development, recipes, everything has to be amazing. And yes, your product should be amazing, but they overlook the importance of the brand and presentation of their company because they think that is of lesser importance than the actual quality of their product. And the truth is it's actually the reverse. You should invest more money and more time in your branding and the presentation of your business because that precedes the customer actually trying your product. As an example, if you have the best tasting products in the world, but people walk by your store and it doesn't look good, it looks unclean and it doesn't look presentable, well, guess what? Nobody's going to believe you that you have the best tasting product in the world. They're not going to try it. So that goes for every aspect of how you present your company, from the product images, from the way your website looks, your Instagram looks, your logo design, your interior design of your store, your packaging, everything. And that should be immaculate. Invest more time and energy on that aspect than your product itself, because the product can evolve, but a lot of times once you've committed to a certain design presentation, especially when it comes to your store design, it's a lot harder to change those things. Yes, they can change, but it's a much more fixed and rigid part and aspect of your business than the recipes themselves, which will naturally change no matter what. Okay, that's the first thing, and I can't emphasize that enough. It took me a while, and the last thing I'll say about it is, even having been successful in this industry for a while, meaning I was 6-7 years into having a business that was making lots of money, I did not fully grasp this element until later on when I started working on other businesses. I had business partners who really specialized in design and branding, and I saw the impact of this kind of approach to business development. So that's the first thing. What's the second thing? The second thing is that working smart is more important than working hard. Why do I mention this? Is because I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, and I was one of them, right? I'm guilty, okay? I believe that my passion was the most important thing. If you believe that working hard is going to get you to where you need to be, understand that it's not. And I often use this analogy, if you've watched the channel for a while, that you've probably heard me say it, but imagine yourself having a goal of getting a car to the top of a hill, okay? Now you can work hard and you can push that car as much as you possibly can. And if you're strong enough, maybe you can kind of get it there, but probably you wouldn't be able to, depending on the incline of the hill. But working smart is the equivalent of going, oh, actually I have a key in my pocket and I've learned how to drive, and what I've been told is I need to get in the front of the car, into the driver's seat, put the key in the ignition, and just drive the car up the hill. Now, the car does not care if you work hard at it or if you work smart at it. The car only needs to get to the top of the hill, and that is success in business. Success in business does not care how hard you work, right? You have goals, you have objective measures that you want to hit. It's just a matter of how do you get there, and do you get there? And working smart is always going to be more important than working hard, which is why if you're watching a channel like this, it's because you're doing your research and you're probably a bit more intelligent than most people, but there are also different degrees and depths to the learning and the education and the information that you need to have in order to be wildly successful in this business. Okay, what's the third thing that I've learned after being in this industry for nearly 15 years? The third thing that I've learned is that no matter how much money you make in your business, you will always need to raise money, okay? This is because the money that you're making almost never moves fast enough to keep up with the demand for your business growth. A lot of people have this misconception that they are going to start their business from home, or they're going to start their storefront, or they're going to start their juice truck, and they're going to make enough money to then reinvest in their business and then launch the next store. Yes, that is possible, okay? But what I want to say is generally it doesn't happen fast enough. Most of the time when people are looking to grow these kinds of businesses, it is realistic to say, okay, maybe I open a new location every year, or I expand my business slightly every year. So I might go from having a truck to a store in a year, or a store from two stores in a year, and it looks something like that. Well, the reality is that most people's storefronts, trucks, or so forth don't make enough money fast enough to be able to grow it at that pace. And even if it did, it would mean that you are running the risk of investing all of your own capital into every single next location that you open. And that's a lot of risk. Okay. So most of the time, the reason that this is important is it helps expand your strategy to understand that raising capital is just a normal part of growing in this business. And if you need support with that, if you need to put together a business plan, no matter what phase you're in and you want to grow to the next phase, reach out to me at Andrew@StartAJuiceBar.com, or anything else that you need, reach out to me there and we can talk about it. Okay, so that's number 3. What is number 4? Number 4 is that successful entrepreneurs in this industry have certain things in common that I've noticed. I've worked with a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of people, and I can generally tell just from initial conversations whether someone is going to be successful or they're not going to be successful. Okay, how is that? One is that I notice that people who are really have the blueprint for success in their personality is, number one, they're detail oriented. Okay, they ask really good questions, they take note, and they really understand the details matter. Number 2 is that they, yes, like I mentioned earlier, have a strong work ethic. They're passionate, right? They move quickly. When they have something to get done, they move quickly. They're decisive. Okay, so if they're thinking about this business, they're not sitting around thinking about it for years on end, hesitating. They commit. They have a passion. They want to move forward. They move forward, okay? Because time is an asset and a liability, okay? Because the longer time that everything takes, the more market gets saturated, the more competitors you have, everything in that dimension. It's an asset because if you can move quickly, then you gain an advantage over people who move slowly, okay? Because what I'll say, and the last thing about that is it's not about being 100% correct with every decision you make the first time you make the decision. It's about how quickly can you course correct when you learn that you are not making the right decision, okay? And when you learn that, do you actually take action? The next thing that I see with successful entrepreneurs is they are good at managing people. They are people, right? They like people like them. They're good communicators. This whole industry, this whole business is a people business. I've had clients and in the past, and it's not most clients, but I have seen and come across people who, my honest perspective is you're just not a likable person. People don't like being around you. You might be quite rude or mean, and that comes across in a way that customers aren't going to like supporting your business. Your staff isn't going to like being around you. It's important that you are good with people, you're personable, and people generally like being around you because you are in the service industry, okay? The other thing is that they are teachable. Like I mentioned, they're humble. This is really important because sometimes I meet entrepreneurs who have this disposition that they already know everything, even though they're not successful, they're not multimillionaires with thriving businesses, but yet they have this perspective that no one can tell them anything. And for whatever reason, they might even reach out to me just to kind of argue with me. And that isn't a great quality. It's important in life to be humble, to be teachable, especially if there's people around you who have accomplished things that you would like to accomplish. That means that they might know something that you don't know. So it's important to be open-minded, to be humble, to ask good questions, and to take advice into consideration. It doesn't mean that you have to follow everyone. You are obviously an autonomous person and you need to follow your own instincts. But at the same time, it's worth considering if people are giving you advice, what the meaningfulness of that and where the source of that information comes from. And then the last 2 things are these people have very high standards, right? High standards for excellence. They do not allow any aspect of their business to be below their standard, which is generally quite high. They want the best in every aspect of their business, which is why, and it leads me to my last point, they invest in mentorship, they invest in guidance, they invest in having companies like ours support them in their business growth, because that's what they know is going to allow them to execute on the highest level. Just like I often use this analogy, if you wanted to go to the Olympics, right? You want to perform at the highest level in anything that you do. What are you going to do? You're going to find the best Olympic coach. Or if you want to play professional basketball, you're going to find the best coach to get you there. If you're playing basketball in a professional level, you're going to want to be on the team with the best coach. Okay? You want to make sure that you are able to receive the highest level of information possible and the highest level of guidance possible to give yourself the best chance of success. It is very strange to me that I see people who want to perform at an Olympic level when it comes to business, but yet they think they're going to cut corners when it comes to investing in that guidance, having the right equipment, shoes, having the right funding. All these areas they're cutting corners, but yet they think that their outcome is going to be at the level of a Starbucks or whatever else their goal and ideal company is. Those two things don't go together, and that doesn't make sense. So take note of that. And what is the fifth thing that I've observed and learned after being in this industry for nearly 15 years? Okay, it is that the industry is evolving. The juice business that I got into 15 years ago is not the same juice business as it is today. What is the difference now? One thing that I can observe is that the juice bar as a concept was quite simple. It was primarily juices. Yeah, people made smoothies and so forth. And that was a standard concept that a lot of people could get behind and buy into. Now, how is the juice business evolving? It's turning more into the healthy food service concept because people's diets are not just centered around juice, as I don't believe that they should be. The juice is kind of a gateway drug, as I say, or maybe we'll say a gateway vegetable, right? Or it's a gateway health signal for people to then move into radical shifts in their overall well-being. And so the juice bar is turning into the healthy, quick service food business where people are incorporating a lot more food items like the acai bowls and like the toasts and like the overnight oats and chia puddings and other things of that nature. So these businesses are becoming more quick service wellness hubs, which I think is a really beautiful thing. But it's important to note and understand this because some people might be questioning if they should serve food in their business, how much of a role should food play? And I always remind everyone, people eat 3 times a day, but people may only drink a beverage, a juice or smoothie once a day. So having healthy food items incorporated into your concept that are easy to take away or quick and easy to prepare as a business is really helpful when it comes to evolving with the times of the industry. So there are so many things that I learned. These are really the top 5 key things that I've observed from being in this industry for as long as I have been. I hope it's been helpful. As I mentioned before, if you are ready to take your business to that next level, reach out to me personally at Andrew@StartAJuiceBar.com. Would be happy to have a conversation about how myself and our company can really evolve your concept and get it to where it needs to be so you can perform at that highest level. Last few announcements, if you're not following us on Instagram, why are you following us on Instagram? You should definitely follow us on Instagram. We have exclusive giveaways and exclusive content. We release multiple times a day there. You can also even DM me there if you prefer Instagram over email, which is fine. And then lastly, if you're not listening to our podcast, you definitely want to do that. It's called The Juice Bar Experts. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you definitely want to subscribe. You don't want to miss a video like this. If you stayed this long, naturally it sounds like and seems like you're getting value from this content. So click the subscribe button so that way you get notifications and hit the notification bell so that you can get notifications when we release new content just like this. So that's all for today. Sending you my love. See you soon. Hope you guys have been enjoying the video content. If you're inspired to learn even more about how to start your juice business from scratch, for you, we have a free ebook. It's called The 15 Steps to Starting Your Juice Business. And this is going to go through a high-level overview, through a step-by-step process on how you get your business off the ground. Everything from, branding, menu development, finding the right location, and more. This is going to be a clear roadmap so you know how to go from where you are all the way to opening your store. If you want to go even deeper, we've also created an online course. It's called the Juice Bar Master Blueprint. This is going to go into great depth on everything from how do you put together and think about recipe development? How do you cost out your menu and what's the math around it? What equipment do you need? How do you design your store? How do you find the right location? And so much more. I know you're going to find a lot of value out of both of these. There's links in the description below. So I hope to see you guys at the next video and enjoy.